you're wondering what the financial picture looks like, we've got you covered. We're talking about that today, and this is Lowcountry Money Talk. Phil Bloyd is walking us through it. And we talked about some current events. We talked a little bit about the history of a bear market. We're going to talk a little bit about whether or not it's time for a recheck. You may need to take a look at your portfolio. We're going to keep going on some of the history, though.
Right.
We have more to talk about.
Maybe we're just getting the party started here. So,
We are.
you know, the average duration of a bear market since 1929 is about 1.4 years. And it takes just under 5 years to break even.
Wow.
Now, that's a big issue with retirees.
Yeah, if you have time for that bounce back, maybe not so concerning. But if you were in retirement or about to retire, it's a tougher picture. So walk us through that.
Sure. So, Jessa, let's say I'm still working. Okay. I am.
I think you are.
You are.
We are.
Okay. So, if we're averaging our savings, 401k, so we get, let's say we're being paid twice a month. So when the market's down 10%, I have some money go into investments then, and when the market's up 10%, maybe I have some going there. So I'm kind of dollar cost averaging into the market.
Okay.
Now let's say I'm 70 years old, I'm not working anymore, there's no more contributions in the 401k. So if I go down 10%, all of my savings, if I'm invested aggressively, they go down 10%.
Right.
I don't have any more going in.
Right.
So I'm hoping they come up 10%. But if, as my last example, if we go down 10% and come up 10%, it still doesn't make me even, right?
Right.
So I'm going to add one other kink here. So I have to, let's say I'm over 72, I have to do required minimum distribution by the government. If I don't take my required minimum distribution, the penalty is, guess what?
It's a fee, it's a fine.
50%.
Wow, yeah.
So let's say my required minimum distribution was $50,000. Now I have some retirees that have to take a lot more than that. They may have to take $100,000 a year. So let's just say the example, $50,000. I miss my required minimum distribution. The penalty is 50%. That is $25,000. That is a hard lesson.
That's a tough lesson to learn there.
Let me tell you.
Right.
So I always tell people, you're only going to do that once. Okay?
Yeah, that's the truth. Yes.
Because you'll start calling me in January. Oh, I want to make sure I don't miss my distribution.
Yeah.
But you know, we help people with that to ensure that. So that's something. If the market's down and I'm kind of waiting, I'm getting towards the end of the year. As we sit here, as I mentioned, we have the S&P's down about 17, the NASDAQ's down over 20. So let's say an average of 20. So I'm like, I haven't taken my distribution yet. I'm gonna wait it out. So I'm hoping by November or December things change around.
Right.
If they don't,
Then what?
I still have to take my distribution.
You have to take it anyways, right? So.
And people say, well, Phil, that's okay because I'm going to reinvest it. I'm like, okay, you're going to reinvest it, but it's going to be another 20% lighter because you're withholding taxes. And then you can reinvest it.
Okay.
You know, so.
All right, so let's bring this back. Yeah, let's bring this back to the positive before we head to break here. So what do we do, right? So how do we be proactive? How do we, if we're in retirement, nearing retirement, how do we really manage our financial plan to avoid, you know, having to take penalties, having to take distributions in the worst downturns?
The best thing we can do is make sure that as we age, as we get closer to retirement and into retirement, that we're not overly aggressive with our investments.
Okay.
And that means that maybe I'm not investing in growth items or equities or whatever they may. Maybe I pull that risk factor down a lot just to make sure, because remember the data was saying every 5 years, you know, so we have to be careful with that, because as we age, I'm 80. Let's say I'm 80, I know I look good for 80.
You look good for 80.
If I'm 80, the male life expectancy is 79, and I'm in a bear market, and I'm like, okay, I'm 5 years out.
Yeah.
See, the math starts hurting us a bit there, right?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, let's, when we get back from break, really kind of bring it together for everybody and talk a little bit about how to navigate this. If you are in retirement, nearing retirement, you always are talking about being proactive instead of reactive. And I think that's really the key for anything that we're discussing here is we can plan for it, and you all can help us with that. So hang tight. We're going to be right back.